general participants, the trainees will start to be invited in this room. Also, this workshop will be streamlined on the real time. So using the CS Lab TV, so that anybody in the world who would be interested in watching this workshop can actually watch it or what we will discuss today. So in the meantime, just wait. If we want to, have another coffee, you can bring your coffee again. So I think we expect more than 25 trainees. Actually, most of them are government officers in Ethiopia. So until we start to have a formal session, and then you can have some break for now.
Distinguished participants and esteemed general participants, we would like to welcome you to our workshop on enhancing capacity of Ethiopia to address climate change. Before starting our first module, we would like to briefly introduce the basic functions of the Zoom webinar. So first, when you are not speaking, please mute your microphone so that it won't make any interruption during the presentation. To change your name, click the participant list and find the rename tab. Please change your name to your full name so that you would be noticed by your name when you ask questions or etc. To interact, share information, and report technical issue and pose question, please use the chat box. You may use the chat box to ask questions to the speakers. The moderator for each module will collect the questions and pass on selected few. Please be noted that due to time constraints, not all of your questions may be answered. Finally, for the presenters only, please use the share screen function so that all of the participants can view your PowerPoint file during your presentation. In addition, please be noted that our secretariat member may interrupt during the speech when your time is almost elapsed. We hope you would excuse us for the interruption. Please be noted that except the speaker, the microphone will be muted during the presentation. Now we would like to commence the first module, which is high-level opening session of the workshop. This module will be a chance to hear opening remarks of high-level participants of the workshop. Our most esteemed Professor Soyoung Chung of Korea University will moderate the first session. Please welcome Professor Soyoung Chung for the moderating.
Thank you, Jiyun. Good morning for those who are in the Addis Ababa, and then good afternoon, those who are in Seoul. My name is Suyong Chung. I'm a professor of Korea University based in Seoul, Korea. We used to organize this workshop every summer in Addis Ababa, but this year, due to COVID-19, we decided to have the same workshop through this online platform today. As a first program that we prepared for, we would like to hear from the distinguished VIPs from the partner organizations on their views on the relevant issues and then our activities that we have done for the last 3 years. Without further ado, first speaker is His Excellence Professor Pekka Dubayan, Commissioner of the Environment, Forestry, Climate Change Commission of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. So Professor Pekadu, this is your turn.
Thank you
Pekadu.
very much, Professor. His Excellency, Ambassador Yon Min Lim, Korean Ambassador to Ethiopia. His Excellency, Mr. Wong Go Song, Vice President for Global Partnership, KOICA. His Excellency, Dr. Frank Rajesh Berman, Director General of Global Green Growth Institute. Professor Suyong Chung, Korean University. Excellencies, online attendees, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Environment, Forest and the Climate Commission of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, I would like to warmly welcome you all to this virtual workshop that aims at enhancing the capacity of Ethiopia to address the impacts of climate change. First of all, I would like to express my greatest appreciation for the Center for Global Climate and Marine Governance of Korea University and the Global Green Growth Institute for co-organizing this timely workshop despite the difficulties we encountered due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. As you all know, climate change is a global phenomenon that poses one of the greatest challenges to humanity. There is no secret that climate change affects sustainability and adaptation, with several added costs that are an immense burden for least developed countries to bear. In light of our national capabilities, it is simply impossible to meet the urgent needs of ensuring sustainable development and green growth in the absence of a predictable and timely provision of adequate financial resources, environmentally sound technologies, and capacity building that are equally humanitarian obligations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, following the CRG implementation over the last 9 years, Ethiopia is now developing its 10 years perspective development plan that runs from 2020 to 2030. The plan considers a strong momentum toward these large-scale investments in irrigation agriculture, renewable energy, ecotourism, sustainable natural resource management, including forestry, that is critical for broad-based rural development and private sector involvement, along with Ethiopia's vision for green and resilient development, the CRG strategy. COVID-19 underscores the urgency of building resilient economy, which withstands not only to pandemics, but also to other systemic risks and shocks, such as climate change and ecosystem destruction. As we are on the verge of finalizing our 10 years perspective development plan, it is imperative to take into account the short and the medium-term impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic vis-a-vis the implementation of the CRG strategy. As in the context of post-COVID-19 recoveries, Ethiopia has been working towards developing a viable plan on how the current CRGE can be used as the primary means for green recovery. It is with this spirit that this year's virtual workshop is organized. To this end, the workshop will address pertinent topics that are relevant in light of the post-COVID-19 recovery particularly on how will the CRG be better utilized as a way of ensuring the green recovery. Besides, participants will explore important topics on the role of the international market mechanism under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement as a means of ensuring more climate finance, as well as how can RED Plus and other related activities be better integrated into the process of implementation of CRGE. Moreover, the workshop will provide a platform to share Korean experiences in the forest sector and to discuss policy suggestions to better implement the CRG strategy. More importantly, it will shed light on strengthening the existing areas of cooperation between Ethiopia and the Republic of Korea and other international partners in the endeavor to realize Ethiopia's aspiration to build a green and resilient economy. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have been hosting a series of capacity building workshops with the generous support of KOICA since 2018. What makes this series workshop different is that it's being held virtually amid the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Similar to the previous year's workshop, it is my strong belief that this workshop will contribute to further strengthening the capacity of our expertise and officials who are involved in the implementation of the CRG strategy. To this end, I urge all participants, all modules attentively and actively engage in the forthcoming discussions. As I conclude, I want to assure you that my government will continue its unwavering commitment to working with the Republic of Korea to address numerous impacts of climate change and other environmental challenges collectively. Ethiopia also very much appreciates the grateful to the continued contribution of KOICA and Triple GI in supporting the overall implementation of our climate action plan. I'm delighted to know that the project proposal submitted last year through Triple GI entitled Climate Resilient Landscape Restoration is now maturing and at the final stage of approval. We remain confident that the project will be given priority and approved irrespective of the implications of COVID-19 for the government of Korea and that it will soon be implemented. Let me take this opportunity to call upon the Republic of Korea and all our development partners to continue their commitment in supporting Ethiopia's aspiration to build a green and resilient economy through the implementation of the CRG strategy in the years to come. I wish you all a fruitful deliberation. Let us stay safe, let us stay healthy, and let us keep our environment clean. I thank you.
Thank you very much. So your statement really encouraged us not only sharing the outcomes that we have achieved so far, but find a way of continuously working together for the better opportunities to achieve in the future. In that sense, thank you very much. Now I'd like to invite His Excellency Hu Min Lim, Ambassador to Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia from Republic of Korea. Ambassador Lim, floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor Jung. Good morning, everyone in Ethiopia, and good afternoon in Korea. Your Excellency, Dr. Fekadu Bene, Commissioner of the Environment, Forest, and Climate Change Commission of Ethiopia. Your Excellency, Ambassador Shingatsu, former Vice Foreign Minister of Korea. Distinguished participants. I am very pleased to join all of you to congratulate the convening of today's workshop. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Jung and other organizers for their efforts to prepare this workshop in spite of many difficulties caused by COVID-19. Even under the unprecedented pandemic crisis, the importance and the urgency of responding to climate change cannot be minimized. In fact, while the pandemic has brought massive disruption in our lives, it also teaches us a lesson that we should approach climate change more informed about the consequences of inaction and may present an opportunity for us to move a more sustainable lifestyle. I hope we can also discuss today the implications of the pandemic crisis for our future response to climate change. Distinguished participants, inarguably, Ethiopia has taken the lead in our global response to climate change. Ethiopia was among the first signatories to the Paris Agreement, committing ambitiously to cut carbon emissions by 64% by 2030. Since its launch of climate resilient green economy strategy in 2011, Ethiopia has achieved great success in various fields of responding to climate change. Among those achievements, afforestation and land rehabilitation may be the key success story. Ethiopia has attained more than 80% of the target of its national reforestation program, Green Legacy Initiative, having planted more than 4 billion trees in only 2 years. In addition, as a founding member of the Global Green Growth Institute, Ethiopia is actively participating in international efforts to address climate change and achieve green growth, including P4G public-private cooperation. As we are well aware, Ethiopia and Korea have maintained special cooperative relationship in many areas based on historical ties of Ethiopia's participation in the Korean War. Addressing to climate change is now one of the most active areas of cooperation between our two countries. In addition to KOICA's project, which all of you worked together 3 years, the Korea Forest Service and the Ethiopian government have been conducting a forest restoration partnership program since 2019. This project was selected as the first project of the Korea's Peace Forest Initiative, PFI, and as one of the P4G startup partnership projects this year as well. P4G is another venue for close cooperation between our two countries. Unfortunately, this year's Seoul P4G Summit has been postponed due to the COVID-19 and is expected to be held possibly next year. Ethiopia's active participation in the summit at the highest level will contribute to the success of the event as well as further strengthen our cooperation. Active role of GGGI Ethiopia office is also noteworthy. GGGI office will carry out another big project with the support of KOICA for 5 years from next year based on the achievement of your works in this project. Distinguished participants, today's workshop, which concludes 3 years project all of you participated in, is another achievement of our two countries' collaborative efforts. In addition to valuable policy recommendations, this 3-year project has made a good example of cooperation between two countries through active participation at the level of universities, international organizations, as well as governments in both countries. I sincerely hope that our two countries will continue active cooperation in responding to climate change together based on the achievement of this project, including the outcome of today's workshop. Once again, I thank you all of you for joining and hope you to enjoy today's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Lim. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Ung Song, Vice President for Global Partnership of KOICA. So, Ambassador Song, floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning in Addis Ababa and good afternoon in Seoul. First of all, I would like to extend my hearty welcome to every distinguished attendees today. His Excellency Commissioner Fekadu Beyen, His Excellency Ambassador Hun-Min Lim, Dr. Frank Wiesberman, Director General of GGGI, Director Stefan Klingibiel, UNDP Seoul Policy Center, Senior Advisor, His Excellency Ambassador Gaksu Shin, Dean Motuma Tolera, Hawassa University. I would also like to express my gratitude to our excellent partner, Professor Seoyoung Jung and his project team of Korea University. As we know, today's workshop is a part of the project on enhancing capacity of Ethiopia to address climate change by focusing forestry sector with the support of KOICA. Even though we cannot meet face-to-face and share warm handshakes due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I do believe we can achieve expected goals by sharing views of leading world experts from different parts of the world. And I expect even further benefits for general audience from all over the world by providing online streaming service. Ladies and gentlemen, since the Paris Agreement was adopted in 2015, all the member countries of the UNFCCC have made their efforts to develop and implement their national climate change implementation plan. In this regard, Ethiopia has prepared the CRGE, stands for Climate Resilient Green Economy, in order to fulfill requirements of the Paris Agreement. I believe this workshop will be a positive contribution to understanding and enhancing the cutting-edge issues on how to realize low carbon economy through implementing the CRGE. Finally, I'm pleased that KOICA has been a good partner in this endeavor by supporting current activities by Korea University, Hawassa University, and other partner organizations in Ethiopia. KOICA has also increasingly emphasized the necessity and the importance of cooperating with the leading global organizations such as GGGI and UNDP. Once again, I would like to express my wishes on continuing good partnerships between KOICA and all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President Song, for your kind remarks. Now, I'd like to invite Dr. Frank Riesberman, Director General of the Global Green Growth Institute. Frank, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I think, am I successful in unmuting? Yes, indeed. Well, good morning in Addis, good afternoon in Seoul, as everybody said. Excellencies, the Commissioner, ambassadors, colleagues, if I can presume all protocol observed. This is indeed a project that, as many of the previous speakers already indicated, brings together a very interesting group of partners. For GGI, Ethiopia is a very important country, one of our founding members, and indeed we have supported Ethiopia for a long time from the initial development of the CRGE, and very pleased to see that after about 10 years the government is now reviewing with an eye to refreshing that into a new 2020-2030 strategy. I think Ethiopia is showing a lot of leadership among least developed countries and in Africa as well. When this project started, it was a good opportunity for GGI to also work more closely with academic partners, particularly Korea University and Hawassa University in Ethiopia. And at the time, we didn't have any other KOICA project, so it was in a way a small project to re-establish our partnership with KOICA as well, which has gone very well, I think. The project, of course, as we already mentioned, has led to a much larger project in the same subject that will support Ethiopia's reforestation effort. Pleasing to see and the output of this project. In the meantime, GGI has also developed its partnership with KOICA in a number of directions. We have started projects in Lao PDR, in Pacific and Philippines, and several others in the pipeline. So that is a strong relationship as well, built in a way on the back of this particular project. We were, of course, very excited to see that the Ethiopian Prime Minister is emphasizing reforestation, as you already mentioned, through his personal leadership in the tree planting campaign. But not only there, also in many other areas of climate change. GGI has supported Ethiopia in its leadership of the least developed countries group in the UNFCCC, for instance. And Ethiopia is a leader on many fronts in the area of climate change. I think the project here supported that effort. And as already mentioned, for the Korea Forest Service and its new Peace Forest initiative, there are many opportunities to reinforce the lessons learned in this project through specific follow-up projects, both in Ethiopia and in other places. And finally, even the P4G partnership has already been mentioned. So altogether, I think we've been very lucky through this project that has gone on for 3 years to be able to reinforce collaboration among the partners here. And I'm very pleased to have had the chance to visit Ethiopia for earlier workshops. Too bad that didn't work out this time, but I'm sure there will be future opportunities to reinforce our partnership in person on the ground. In the meantime, I'm happy that we have this workshop at least, and I'm looking forward to see the results of the project discussed in more detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Now, I'd like to invite the another important partner of this project activities, Mr. Stefan Klingebeli, Director of the UNDP Seoul Policy Center. So, Stefan, floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor Chong. Honorable Commissioner of the Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Commissioner of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Mr. Fekadu Beyen, Honorable Ambassador to the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia from the Republic of Korea, Mr. Honmin Lim, Vice President for the Global Partnerships of KOICA, Mr. Wunjuk Song, Director General of Global Green Growth Institute, Mr. Frank Gisperman, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Korea, Mr. Kak So-chin, and Professor So-Young Chong, Korea University. Distinguished presenters of today's workshop, ladies and gentlemen, and participants of the YouTube streaming. Good morning and good afternoon to you all. Today's workshop focuses on enhancing capacity of Ethiopia to address climate change. This is a really important topic because we are increasingly seeing all the devastating consequences of climate change. I know from my own travels to several remote parts of Ethiopia how important the challenge is for the population of this beautiful country. As the director of the UNDP Seoul Policy Center for Knowledge Exchange through SDG partnerships, it's my pleasure to work. It's my pleasure for me to speak on the opening session of today's workshop. As the title of our center implies, UNDP's Global Policy Center in Seoul has the mandate to broker knowledge and partnership between the Republic of Korea and partner countries. The Seoul Policy Center was established in 2011. It is one of UNDP's 5 global policy centers and builds bridges between Korea, new development partners, and developing nations on key development issues and supports capacity building. In the last 5 years, our center has been active on various green issues, sharing and exchanging knowledge on Korea's innovative practices on sustainable energy, energy efficiency, waste and wastewater management, recognizing the importance of climate action and environmental policy in the achievement of the SDGs. Furthermore, by focusing on resilience, we now have a rich portfolio on sustainable forestry. Specifically on forestry, So far, we have produced 6 publications, including 3 SDG policy briefs highlighting various aspects of Korea's reforestation and forest management efforts. Also 2 years ago, based on a competitive selection process, we launched SDG partnerships in sustainable forestry. We are partnering with Korea Forest Service, National Institute of Forest Science, and Korea University in this process. So far, we are working in Ghana, sharing Korea's wildfire management practices. In Myanmar, we are sharing Korea's community forestry experience to local and indigenous communities, and in Tajikistan on the evaluation of disaster risk reduction through reforestation efforts. In each case, the knowledge exchange is contextualized to the local socioeconomic and environmental realities. We plan to add 2 more SDG partnerships next year. Let me also add that UNDP, with its presence in 170 countries and territories, has a broader portfolio of forestry work, and now we are also working on UNDP's COVID-19 offer on forests. As such, our support and collaboration with Korea also draws on and leverages this broader portfolio of work and expertise. My colleague Sawat will speak about UNDP's work in implementing nationally determined contributions in the forestry sector. Let me end by expressing my appreciation to all our partners here today. Especially, I would like to congratulate Professor Sonjong Chong and the team at the Center for Global Climate and Marine Governance at Korea University for bringing us together virtually. And my thanks to all co-hosts, including Korea International Cooperation Agency, KOICA, Korea University, the Green Asia Organization, and the Center for Climate and Sustainable Development Law and Policy, Hawassa University, and Global Green Growth Institute. I look forward to informative presentations and fruitful discussions today and our continued partnership in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Now, I'd like to our final speaker, Ambassador Kak Soo-shin, Senior Advisor of the CSLF and the former Vice Minister of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Korea. Ambassador Shin, floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor John. Dear colleagues, let me start by extending my warm greetings to all those in Seoul and Ethiopia. I'm very delighted to see the familiar faces and speak a few words at this August webinar workshop. As you know, this event is held to wrap up the important joint project between Korea and Ethiopia on climate change. It offers us a good opportunity to reflect on what we have achieved during the last 3 years and to consider what should be further sought to fulfill the mission originally planned. It is unfortunate that COVID-19 prevented us from gathering in Seoul or Addis Ababa this time. I still vividly remember the wonderful memory of Ethiopia when I visited there to launch this project. Since we embarked on this ambitious project to help Ethiopia address the climate change 3 years ago, we have made a great stride in laying the groundwork for preparing a sound and sustainable green economy strategy by sharing knowledge and information, identifying the needs of the government and private stakeholders, including universities, and planning and implementing a series of activities. During the journey of these efforts, I have been privileged to take part in some of them, including the first workshop for the Ethiopian government officials in 2018. At the time, I could witness a high level of ambition and passion of Ethiopians in their quest for thriving to become a middle-income country by 2030 through the implementation of Ethiopia's climate resilient green economy, CRGE. Yesterday, I read an article reporting that heat stress caused by climate change would deprive us of almost 80 million jobs worldwide, tantamount to almost 2.5 trillion US dollars in 2030. Likewise, a myriad of natural disasters of unprecedented scale, such as California wildfires, heavy rainfall in Korea, China, and Japan, and sporadic outbreaks of severe drought, are thought to be the creation of the warmed earth. The pandemic COVID-19, considered as the greatest havoc on world health and economy since the Second World War, is another challenge that arose out of the environmental degradation precipitated by climate change. All in all, the call for effective response to the aggravating global warming is becoming more urgent than ever. It remains yet to be seen whether we should live in a with-corona world or a post-corona world. However, it is imperative for us to accelerate our efforts to faithfully deliver the commitments under the Paris Agreement. Another big task ahead of us in our fight against the coronavirus is to obtain the fastest possible recovery of the hard-hit world economy. Against this backdrop, I'd like to underline the importance of pursuing the green recovery by taking the implementation measures on nationally determined contributions of the Paris Agreement in a speedy and effective manner. Last month, the Korean government put emphasis on the two pillars of digital revolution and green growth in its New Deal economy, which was designed to address the pandemic-stricken economy in Korea. I hope that our joint project will also benefit from this new initiative on the basis of what we have achieved for the last 3 years to meet the additional challenges ahead. Finally, as a senior advisor of the Center for Climate and Sustainable Development, in other words, CSD Lab, I'd like to say we are very proud of being a part in carrying out this meaningful project. On behalf of the CSD Lab, I also would like to extend my profound thanks to the government of Ethiopia, Hawassa University, Korean Embassy in Ethiopia, KOICA, the Global Green Growth Institute, and UNDP, all our precious partners for their strength and efforts as a team to pursue the lofty goal of addressing climate change in Ethiopia. I'm sure that this noble endeavor will bear concrete fruit in the form of ensuring a greener, more comfortable, and stable planet. I wish all of you good health amid COVID-19 and every success in your endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Shin. Ambassador Shin has been a great supporter from the beginning until now on our various activities teamed up with our partner organizations to work together with the Ethiopian counterpartners. So thank you very much. Now we just finished the listening to all the planned speeches by the distinguished VIPs. Now I'd like to hand over the microphone to the Secretariat.